Hi, my name is Mitra. I'm a servant. I serve through teaching, coaching, consulting, or any other way that I can find to share what I know with those who want to know. And this Lights On podcast is one of those ways. It was created with consciousness and mindful living in heart. So join us as we travel through many roads of learning and transformation together. And if you enjoy our podcast, please give us feedback by rating us 5-star and share us with others if you think they may benefit from it. On behalf of my team, I thank you for your presence. This episode is about emotional intelligence in the workplace and in leadership. I was speaking on a panel. It was a conference about emotional intelligence at workplace in London, England. And I get into a little bit of a history of emotional intelligence and how it entered the workplace. And then I speak about different aspects, 6 aspects of emotional intelligence, and also the definition of what emotional intelligence really means. Of course, this is just a short summary. If you are interested to dive deeper into actual practice of emotional intelligence in leadership and at workplace, you can check out our live workshop if you're listening to this before we offer it, or perhaps look at our courses at our store and see if the videotaped version of it is available for your learning pleasure. Let's take a listen together. Hello, everyone. My name is Mitra Manesh. I'm a mindfulness educator, and I have been doing this for 36 years. I teach mindfulness at UCLA's Semel Institute School of Neuroscience and Human Behavior Mindful Awareness Research Center. And I also have a private practice where I coach and teach individuals and workplaces to bring a sense of emotional intelligence and awakeness to their daily life. I like to actually start talking about the fact that emotional intelligence and the subject of emotional intelligence is so new, relatively speaking, historically speaking. The first time that it actually appeared anywhere was in the 60s. And then, of course, in the 90s was 91 and then 95 that it became a thing. And if you look at the history of the workplaces, you understand why emotions in general, and definitely emotional intelligence, was not a subject or a thing in the workplace, because we had the public life and then we had the private life, and they were not much related. So we went to work, and by we I mean mainly men. They went to work, especially if they were in a position of decision making. They were mainly men. And the emotions and everything else were separated. But a few things happened that allowed or invited the emotions to even become a thing in the workplace. First of all, the whole workplace and the way we did work changed. Globalization happened, diversity happened, women went to work, and really people who were in position of powers went from being merely managing whatever they were doing and became leaders. When the question of leadership, and I speak a little bit about the difference between these two, when managers became leaders, and managers, by the way, could be also owners, or then we called them later on CEOs or any kind of Cs that was created later on. Because as managers, they basically got the job done. They were administrating or focusing on work, and they basically had subordinates reporting to them, and they're just getting the job done. And then the idea of leadership came in, which basically was about innovation. It was focused on people. It was about convincing and sharing ideas and making decisions and doing the right things instead of doing things right. So the whole dynamics of work, decision making, leadership changed. And of course, women entered the workplace. So emotions became a thing. And it was no longer a swear word, because we used to say, like, somebody is so emotional, as if there is something wrong with them. In translation into human language meant that they actually had emotions, and somehow they were showing their emotions, which was an absolute no-no. So it became a thing. And then, of course, when science came in and supported the fact that there is something called emotional intelligence, and it's good to have it, and then it really became fashionable. All of a sudden, I would get requests about, do emotional intelligence. What's that? Can you do that? And I would smile and say, we've been doing it for a long time. It's just now it has a name and a title, and it's acceptable by decision makers. So it became a thing. So basically, the way I coined a definition for emotional intelligence is that emotional intelligence is the ability to positively be aware and in charge of one's emotions, as well as empathically connect with and respond to and influence the emotions of others. So we're talking about here a few topics. One was self-awareness, that I know what's happening in me. 2 is that I have some kind of command of my emotions. They're not out of control. 3 was that there is a sense of positive attitude. And I would like to explain that, because this doesn't mean that we just put a happy face on things, but it means that we do have a positive attitude towards ourselves and people and organization in general. And the 4th one is ability to respond instead of react, meaning we have using our choice, we're creating a pause in order to respond instead of react, and allow the stimulus basically be the leader of how we are showing up. And the 5th part and aspect of emotional intelligence is having empathy for other people's emotions, meaning we understand and relate to their thoughts and emotions and experiences, and truly are present to listen to them in a deeper sense of listening. And the 6th aspect of emotional intelligence is the ability to influence others. And by that, I don't mean manipulate others, but that means that actually in a healthy way, include them and be able to persuade them instead of manipulate them. So these are the 6 aspects of emotional intelligence that I teach from and work with. And the most common thing that I hear is that, like, that's good, but, I'm just not one of those people. Usually when I'm coaching the executive, they think that we were born with them. And I'm sure, there are some people who are born with more tendency to have these attributes. But the good thing about everything we're talking about, from emotional intelligence to mindfulness or any kind of awakeness, both at work and at home, is that there is a natural tendency, a natural way of having it, but there's also practices that allow us to cultivate them in a very practical way and make them part of our style of leadership or style of our communication. Hope this episode answered the question or two for you, or provoked and inspired questions in you. I'm so grateful you showed up and listened up. Until the next time, Be well and stay curious.